Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we've got an interesting product review for you.
Wilson driver.
Wilson C300 driver, not one that we actually carry in the shop, so we are really interested to see the performance on it. We done the irons last week and we were really impressed with how they performed, and then reading the comments afterwards, you know, it seemed like there's actually quite a big following for that V6 iron.
I think we had an inkling that it was going to be, well, we had an inkling that it was already popular, but after doing the review and kind of confirming what people have been saying, just tons of people saying, yeah, this is exactly my experience. I also found that, I have a set kind of thing. So that, I think, has carried us on to say, okay, this also has a little bit of buzz about it, this driver in particular. So wanting to put it through the paces on our system and see kind of what the fuss is about with this one.
And when we were doing a little digging on it, we kind of came across obviously what it sells for on the kind of high street and on the pro shops and stuff, and it's a little bit cheaper, which is obviously going to appeal to a certain audience who's looking for, you know, a little bargain, and the $650 to $700 drivers don't really appeal to them. No. You know, maybe this is kind of more in their wheelhouse. So obviously it's going to come down to performance at the end of the day, and how well it stacks up. For the lesser price point, are you sacrificing anything? Is it slower in ball speed? Are the miss hits worse? All that sort of stuff. Looking at the technology, really the main sort of feature seems to be the slot technology they've got at the top and bottom of the head. So looking at trying to get the face to flex a little bit more on miss hits, so trying to retain that ball speed on misses. And then I've got three sort of weights across the bottom. They've got two 6 gram weights and two 2s and a 6, or 2 6s and a 2.
2 6s and a 2, exactly. So we've got the heavier weights forward.
So we set
that's
up.
how it came anyway. But
adjustable sleeve where you can go open 2 degrees in loft, so down 1, and open 2 degrees in face angle, so down 1 in loft.
And then up to 2.
It turns up a little bit, a little bit more, so it goes up to 2. So this 9 or 10.5, we've got it in 9.5.
Right. Awesome. I mean, it's definitely, I think, the budget category, if you want to call it that. Obviously, this is still $450 in Canada. It's not exactly cheap, but it's cheap relative to other clubs. And I think in every category, putters up to driver, it piques people's interest, because that's the question. Can you probably get similar numbers from something? And if you can, then why not save some money, right? So I think that's how they've gotten a following. Though it's obvious that there's not going to fit everybody. There's no way. Even if today we find that it performs well, it's still not going to fit every single person. But it would be cool to satisfy the curiosity if it is another good option. I mean, you've got 6 or 7 other brands in here that all perform well. So see if kind of how it stacks up. Yeah,
see where it fits in there. I mean, obviously watching the show it's airing right now, driver versus driver. You know, you see some of the things that Wilson are kind of looking at with driver technology and innovation and research, and you know they're obviously they do their work, and
taking some
strides, see the evolution of these drivers that are being designed by the contestants in the show, and the way they mold them into, you know, quite good looking products, and you know all the
hittable,
things.
Which was crazy.
Definitely. You know, the sort of R&D that they put into it to make a good driver. So, you know, I'm curious to see how this goes. Interesting colour in the red. Don't know if that's going to be everyone's cup of tea, but
probably not.
It's kind of metallic almost, isn't it? It kind of changes depending on what angle you look at it. It kind of almost goes black.
Pearlescent look to it,
almost. It's different.
It's probably less offensive than the sort of brighter red driver that Nike had.
That's right. It was.
That was a little more.
What was that? The Covert.
It was kind of like this sort of red, wasn't it? Almost. It was very bright.
It was very bright.
This is a little more. I mean, again, we've had this conversation with Mizuno, and we said the same thing. They should probably just make a black driver. I'd be interested to see. I'm assuming that driver versus driver winner, it's going to be black on top. I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
I would imagine so. Yeah, with sort of red accents to it or something.
The ones I saw, they posted them on Instagram. A lot of them look pretty good. I know. Honestly, they look really good. They don't look. I don't want to use the term, like the ones from the first season I didn't think looked quite as much of a finished product. These ones look a lot more sort of polished to me.
Yeah, what was the first one? The Triton or something
Triton,
like that?
Yeah. It wasn't. I don't think it was a bad looking club. I just don't. It obviously didn't perform that well because I don't think it was sort of a blast off for them. But curious to see how this thing is gonna go. Without a doubt.
Okay, let's hit a few with it, Matty. We'll put you on here a drivable par 4.
Yeah, so we're on the 4th hole at Pebble.
Yep. So we know, slight elevation as well. The green's 25 feet above the T deck. So we know for you, if you really pipe one, you're going to fly it in the kind of 305, 310 range.
Yeah.
So that should be about, you know, getting on the green here if we're really hitting this one, you know, as good as your own.
And it's not a green that you can really run the ball up on because it's very narrow. So
it's a real narrow gap.
Yeah, I would assume that
you'll see that just in the between
exactly.
the bunkers there. Yeah, it's a very small opening. So
the guys that give this one a crack, I don't remember exactly where the championship tee is, but if they ever move them up, I think they're looking to fly it right on there. They're not looking to chase one up.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right, let's take a little look.
Christmas theme here with the red and green.
Oh, it's an interesting noise off it.
Yeah, it was struck off the top of the face a bit. Not bad, though.
Okay, chased in the front bunker.
It's a little loud, isn't it? Maybe
was.
not loud, but it's got a bit of a...
kind of hollow noise to it.
It does, yeah.
Okay. 158 ball speed, so a little less than we're used to seeing.
Wasn't hammered, that's for sure. That struck a little better.
I'm struggling to detect a good one and a bad one here from
Yeah, no, fair enough. That was hit much more center, though.
He's threaded the needle.
Get up there.
Look at that.
It's better.
292.
So for those that have seen a bunch of reviews of ours before, I do normally swing a little faster than this, in fairness. That was probably around 114 or so. Something like that.
That one was 114.
Yeah, okay. So we're down a few miles an hour.
Okay, it's all right.
A little
we warm
sore.
into the session. I'm sure we'll get that up a little bit.
Yeah. Might have turned that. Uh-oh.
It's quite low spin, Matty.
Seems very low spin, doesn't it?
Really
Yeah.
darting away, that one.
Goodbye.
Okay, get your sand wedge out for the next one. Oh, and your flippers. Oh, you hit it right in the middle to just shut it down.
It was just a bit shut. I don't know if maybe I didn't read enough of the reactions about it, but I didn't think it was going to be that low spin of a club. It seems to be very low spin.
Okay.
Keep it a little more square. Dear.
Now we're kind of at the disadvantage, aren't we, of not having your usual shaft in there, Matty. We've got a Fujikura Speeder, which is the stock shaft that comes in it, because we obviously don't carry the.
We don't have the tip
Strixon
adjustment
head.
with
We
this,
don't have we don't have the sleeves, so you know we definitely are going to see some drop off in performance because of that.
But what we're looking to assess is really on a good strike. Is it keeping up, I guess, in ball speed, forgiveness? Those are the things you're probably trying to.
Well, after we hit this, I'd like to put your driver in your hands here and
just hit a couple
just
and
like to see how that stacks up against. I think that's the true test.
Probably would almost at a point where someone who normally plays 9.5 might need a bit more loft on this club.
Remember the Mizuno one was a bit like that, wasn't it?
It was very much like that. That's hit quite well. It really looks low spin, doesn't it?
Very low spin, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. It's struggling to stay in the air much more than sort of 275-ish.
See if I can flight one up a little bit higher. It's a little funky on the sound, to be honest.
It's a little loud, isn't it?
Yeah, a little
A
strange.
little hot melt would be welcomed.
Would help that, yeah. It doesn't feel bad at impact, though. It's fairly solid. That's well hit. Just didn't quite turn it in enough. Be in that front bunker. Be just fine with that, though.
Well,
hit a couple with Old Faithful.
all right, so let's take a little look at the gamer, Matt, to see how that compares.
Okay.
Certainly seemed like one of the best ones we've hit so far.
Yeah, it was just a little more draw would have done it. It's a little off the top of the face, but
it's going to bounce on up there.
Should kick, shouldn't it? Oh, we got one on.
Look at that. Chased her on up there.
Not a good strike, but it seemed to retain a little more speed, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean 164 and a bit of a high strike.
Yeah, that's a little better, isn't it? Okay. That's the best swing I've made with this club. That was solid. Go.
Got to say, Matty, just being honest here, very different flight with this.
Very different, isn't it? It looks a little more stable.
Much, much better.
Yeah. That's a lot more ball speed on that. There's got to be.
Big difference. So, look at how close those numbers got, though.
The launch angle and stuff was very similar, wasn't
Identical.
it?
Very, I mean, 40 RPMs of spin difference. Identical launch angle. Really, just. I mean, even if we kind of get the first couple that were maybe sort of warming into it or something like that, you know, maybe if we are a wee bit more generous, we might say that there's a 4 mile an hour difference, but there's a decent difference.
It's a disparity in ball speed for sure, no question. Yeah,
yeah,
no question at all. I mean, I don't think it would be attributed to just a shaft difference. There's no way, because there was a few that I hammered right in the middle of that, and I just don't think it's going to keep up in terms of ball speed. I mean, it's certainly a good driver to knock some spin off, and I think it performs okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we go back and hit a couple more.
I wouldn't mind doing that, actually, if you don't mind. Especially after hitting a couple of really nice ones there.
Yeah. I mean, I would not blame, what I would say is I would not blame the shots that were wayward on this head, because obviously the shaft isn't ideal. But when it's struck dead center and a good swing is put on it, you would expect to see it get a little bit quicker speed-wise.
Definitely.
Okay. Let's see if we can get one on the green. That's hit quite
good.
well. Just seems to come out of the air.
Chase it.
Yeah, it just doesn't stay in the air quite as long, does it?
That was very, very well hit and straight.
It's just a little slower in speed, isn't it?
Yeah, that was on the previous good one you hit with yours, 168.6, and then down at 162.9.
Yeah.
Carry was 270 versus 286.
Okay, let me try to go after one a little bit.
Okay.
Let's see. So you essentially would be looking at that efficiency rating to tell you how well the energy is being transferred.
Yeah.
And shaft-wise, how much difference could you make just from a shaft change if a shaft
you could probably gain a little bit on efficiency and
maybe a mile an hour
timing. Yeah, you could definitely get a little bit of a jump in when you get someone into the right shaft, man.
Right.
Yep.
I went after that one.
It's interesting with this one. You've done a couple of times with that where you've kind of just leaked it out there to the left, just almost like it's a bit late.
So part of it, I think, is the way the head sits when you put it down. It kind of wants to sit obviously a little bit more closed than mine. Mm-hmm. So maybe I've made a bit of an over adjustment. But that was 117 swing speed, 164 ball speed. That seems low.
Yeah.
That's hit really well. I would expect to see that be quick.
That was hit good.
It did. Honestly,
yeah,
it feels quite nice on a good strike. The sound, I think, may put a few people off, to be honest.
So this one's really topping out at about 165 ball speed, the 164.8.
Yeah, and I swung, that was 118 almost. I swung
118,
pretty fast.
Yep.
And that was a good strike, too.
So I would call this one 3-4 miles an hour slower than your ping.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It is definitely keeping the spin quite low, which is interesting for...
Yeah, from a launch perspective, it seems to be very low. It just maybe is lacking a little something on the ball speed front. So, yeah, a decent driver. I think we can.
I think it is a decent driver,
probably say it's decent. It maybe isn't reaching sort of the top tier of drivers out there right now. I mean, we know how good TaylorMade always are. Callaway, Ping have been phenomenal with G400. Titleist are definitely in the game now in the conversation with TS.
We just saw that in our last test, yeah.
Yep, I mean, even looking at some, obviously with the wraparound season, you see some guys putting in some products at the start of the season. So you see some guys, Chris Kirk put in the new Mizuno driver.
Already?
The new one, which we actually have on the way for testing for next week.
Oh, can't wait for that.
So that'll be good. So they're really excited about that. What they say it's very quick.
Nice.
So you can see, if you're in a drag race, and driving isn't exactly a drag race, but and you're driving with less horsepower than the other guy in the drag race, you don't fancy your chances too
Not
much.
likely, unless something goes wrong on the start line, right?
We look at the kind of performance in golf and the impact that good driving has, and especially distance. It plays a big factor. I don't buy into any of what people say that they want to sacrifice distance just to hit it straight. You want both.
Well, there's enough going on with the options you have to get both.
There is.
I don't think maybe 10 years ago maybe there wasn't, but now there certainly is.
And I think I've said this in other videos. I hear this too much nowadays. I'm not in here for distance. I'm in here to hit it straight. That's fine. But I tell you what, you're not in here to lose distance.
No,
let's not pretend that distance doesn't matter. So, we look at the golf of the weekend. Cameron Champ going out there in a second tour win. The kid's a game changer. This is kind of. We haven't seen anything like this since really, Tiger was first came out on tour.
He was the fastest at one time,
but
wasn't he?
There was other guys who were as quick as Tiger at the time. They maybe weren't as skilled all around. Tiger had the distance with the overall skill. Okay. No one can touch Cameron Champ's ball speed.
Not even close.
Not even close. Yeah. No one else is swinging.
Got a 44.5-inch driver. He's getting 195 ball speed.
That's
a joke.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, it really genuinely is a game changer. So. If he can figure out how to bring the rest of his game and couple that together, we can be looking at something really special.
Absolutely.
With that kid. So losing a little bit of ball speed like we did in it, it's probably going to affect the sort of how easy it is for people to buy into this particular driver.
I think if you came in and you tested a bunch of different clubs, it doesn't seem that there's a way that this would be comparable in ball speed. I do think it could be comparable in launch and spin.
Definitely.
And get you some great launch conditions.
It was almost exactly the same.
But there's especially on a couple of the slight miss hit ones, the ball speed dropped significantly.
Yep.
You're really going to have to be someone that pipes it in the center. And even then, you're probably going to lose, whatever that is, 3-4 miles an hour.
Pretty much. Like a good kind of, solid 4 miles an hour is what I was looking at on good strikes.
I think they're trending in the right direction, it seems. I think I like a lot of what they're up to with that show and everything. I can see their next driver being quite good.
Yeah.
I would think maybe they start to catch up. Maybe this is more of sort of a building block.
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with what they made before this, to be honest, but
no, me neither.
Maybe they're sort of starting to catch up a little bit. For $200 Canadian less, it's a good driver. There's absolutely no reason why you would be upset with it.
Yeah.
And you go out on a golf course, you may not, based on ground conditions, sometimes it's hard to tell 5-10 yards. It really is, in fairness. In here, it's so cut and dry for us to say, oh, look at the numbers. On a golf course, is it really that cut and dry? Yeah. At times, maybe not.
Definitely. I think a couple of things to address. Not that we're here to tell Wilson what to do by any means, but I would say the sound and a little bit of a lack of ball speed is probably their two biggest obstacles in terms of making a driver that is going to be a contender
100%
in the conversation.
And paint it black on the top.
Yeah, or grey or something. Just probably not.
Because it's, from a sole design, it's nothing wrong with it. I just think that the red in terms of Wilson Staff's logo is nice from a badge perspective, but I don't think it's necessary to go this route to that degree. Even Cobra didn't really stick with that. Cobra had their crazy drivers
and they had some issues, I think, in sales because of that as well. Right? Skews and different stuff, trying to get a popular color scheme. It's
for sure. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, no, give yourself the best chance you can. Keep it simple.
We're doing these videos again because it's a brand that I think people are cheering for.
Yep.
I wouldn't want this video to discourage someone from trying it, but be aware that more than likely you're going to be a little slower on ball speed.
Yeah.
But I think they are definitely someone to watch in terms of a company that may actually come back and catch up with the next driver.
For sure.
They probably know that already, right?
Yeah.
Because that driver's probably ready for production.
Probably there's been a while now that Wilson have probably known they're more of a reputable company at the minute from an iron standpoint.
Irons, and we saw that those V6 irons were as good as anything.
And we've got the fairway wood to test as well.
There's a hybrid to test.
A hybrid to test as well. So
we got a wedge as well.
Yeah.
FG Tour wedge.
So
we'll keep plugging away on these.
We will.
Hopefully you guys found this interesting. Again, we didn't want to, we're not here to be negative about it, but there's some drawbacks to it that you have to consider. I think from a cost saving standpoint, it's quite amazing how much cheaper it is. But give it a shot. If you're a Wilson fan, I think you can at least test it out. And if you're a little closer in ball speed for someone else, maybe it is worth, shaving a couple yards for some savings.
Definitely. And it's probably, in the grand scheme of things, trying to kind of compare it to whatever, I mean, it's probably a Honda to the TaylorMade or
to a Ferrari
to the Mercedes or something like that of some other brands.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good and it performs just well, but just maybe not quite as much horsepower as it's.
Yeah. In this case, there is a reason why other brands are a little more expensive.
For sure.
To be fair.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments if you've tried it and maybe you've found something different. I have not actually seen any other reviews from other channels, so if other channels have found something different, I'd be curious.
For sure.
Please subscribe, as we said. It means means a lot to the channel, the growth of the channel, the opportunities that we get.
And I'll let you know about our Wilson reviews coming up. We got a bunch, so subscribe so you make sure you get notified about those.
Exactly. Excellent.
All right.
Good stuff. Guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon.